Welcome to the Black Club. I'm your host, Bnote. This is your co-host, Easy Does It, your favorite trucker's favorite trucker. I'm gonna have to apologize. We missed y'all the last week, Wednesday and Friday. That was on me right there. I had a little something I had to deal with. But we back right on time, right on schedule. We're gonna get back started. We're gonna jump back into this thing. Um, the Rodney Hinton situation has where you go? Bro, done dipped out.
I was posting a link to my Facebook real quick at a live so we can get
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people
yeah.
there.
So look, with Rodney Hinton's situation now, he's suing the police for $25 million, accusing the police of using excessive force against man charged with killing a deputy. So it's a $25 million lawsuit now.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. It say he's facing the death penalty if convicted of charges related to Henderson's killing. And also, I found out, bro, that it wasn't the police officer that shot his son. He just went and killed a random police officer. That
Man,
changes the whole scenario.
it does, bro. And cause shout out to I forgot who it was, but they kinda checked me on that on that fact as far as um him being him getting the actual police that shot his son.
Yeah.
Uh I've been following that a lot more closely, and a lot of the evidence and the facts ain't really came out, but people talk, the internet talk, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah.
man, I've been hearing all kind of stuff. I've been hearing that he may have not even been the driver. He was on the passenger seat. I didn't
I
heard
heard it was
that.
a female that was
That's
driving.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, it was a random. So that does change that. But at the same time, even if it even though it is a random police, just in a general sense, I still kind of stand on my original sentiment
So do
overall,
do you
because
think do you think he was justified?
it's hard to say justified. Justified, I think, changes. You got to be careful with what words you're using in these situations. So I won't say justified, but I will say I understand where he's coming from, and from in a more tribal kind of basic standpoint of life, minus all the you know society norms, and how societies work and governments and all that. Aside from all that, just as basic human beings, you understand that,
Yeah.
because so many people say it didn't matter that he got the wrong person. But if that's the case, then why so many police show up in that courtroom?
Yeah.
If they didn't feel it like that, why so many police show up in that courtroom?
Yeah.
Why is it such a hot topic? You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe that, and I think everybody know deep down. They know, they know, they know.
I think whether it was justified, it depends on how he feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Like whether he feel like it was worth it for him about to face what he about to face. That's
Well,
that's the that's the only way that it could be defined that way, in my opinion, because he's the only one that got to deal with that situation. None of us really do. So it's really
yeah,
whether he feel like it was worth it, him doing what he
right,
did.
right. I mean, I think him. I think if it's worth it versus justified and all that is different. Like, of course, only he can speak to whether if it was worth it or not.
Yeah.
I think those of us who kind of more understand in a real way where he's coming from. I
Yeah.
think those are the ones. Those of us maybe possibly would have done something, the same thing or something similar. You know what I'm saying? But that don't automatically make it right necessarily.
No,
So
especially by it being the wrong police officer. That makes it a totally different situation, in my opinion. You just went and ran somebody random down that had nothing to do with that situation, just
yeah,
because they had a badge on.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. But I get it from more than one standpoint.
It said, hold on. What the hell just happened? So Antoinette Holloway is the person who filed the complaint on his behalf, the lawsuit, and it said that he's seeking $25 million in damages. He's being held without bond at the Clermont County Jail. Mm.
And you know what else I found funny that I saw somebody else bring up?
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed there, like, typically when it's a crazy situation, you see everybody camera out, there's videos everywhere, they got helicopters out there, they got news feeds out there, they showing the video, somebody done leaked the video, something. Have you noticed we haven't seen nothing but that one still photo of that car being crashed?
Yep.
Why is that?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They can't, like, propaganda is a motherfucker, bro, and they've been getting
Yeah.
us and okey doking us for centuries at this point.
And yeah,
So,
that's something we
you know,
really have to be careful about.
that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful with. You got to pay attention to when they decide to throw out a bunch of evidence and when they choose to all of a sudden everything quiet, hush, hush. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? When they try, when especially a black man, if they're not completely railroading him and throwing him under the bus with all the facts going to the, because the court of public opinion is a real thing, and
Right.
the news and media outlets, they depend on that to sway judgment of the people. They would have been throwing him all kind of under the bus if they had a bunch of shit on him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? All them videos of him crashing and showing him being the one get out the car or whatever the case. Like again, from what I've heard, they said when the crash happened, he was in the passenger seat, passed out, and it was an older lady driving.
Mm.
So I really wanna, honestly, I'm gonna keep following it real heavy, but I'm gonna reserve any further. You know
Judgment.
what I'm saying? Because who at this point, and none of it is really public right now. So we
Yeah.
don't know really
Everybody
what.
really just going off of their emotions and how they feel about,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, certain situations.
And also, kind of on that, as far as the son topic, a lot of people was kind of throwing him under the bus, talking about the car was stolen, and come to find out it wasn't necessarily stolen; it was under repo, which is different. Like he owed a couple payments on the car, so they
Yeah.
was looking for it, but they wasn't chasing him down in no stolen vehicle. So
Yeah.
that wasn't the case. So them pulling up on him and jumping out running, that wasn't. It's not the same thing. Kind of the, that court of public opinion thing. It's like they tried to spin it like the car was stolen and they was on some hot pursuit and jumped out and ran. They not showing before they pulled up in front of this car because them young men was sleep in the car. They wasn't out driving and ripping and running and doing nothing. So they pulled up real fast, real heavy, throw it in park and jump out the car so fast. What are you really to expect? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like I said before on one of these other episodes, like, as a people, we kind of got this type of energy where we kind of sense and know things a little bit. So if you see a bunch of motherfuckers running your way trying to get that way, where you going? What you gonna do?
Yeah.
You gonna stop and ask a bunch of questions, or you gonna get the fuck out of there and figure it out later?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm thinking it's more so of, okay, if I'm sitting in this car with, me and a couple of my niggas, whatever, we done smoked some weed, we done got a couple pistols in the car, you know what I'm saying? The car's not stolen, but I know, it's under repo. My people didn't let me in the house. Apparently this is what actually happened. My people didn't let me in the house. I got locked out. I ended up sleeping in the car, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, whatever. And then all of a sudden, 3, 4 police cars come rushing in deep, jumping out the car, you know what I'm saying, in hot pursuit. Default is to run. Unfortunately, that's kind of, I remember some younger days. Default is to jump out and run. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what they coming for, what they about to be talking about, but I know it ain't good. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I don't know, bro. I see it from a bunch of different angles. So I'm gonna try to reserve any further commentary on it too much until we know
Yeah.
something. Because this,
Yeah.
this is this is weird.
Because you don't want to, say something and had the wrong information out there, and you don't want, or be coming off and giving the wrong impression about it,
It,
because we don't want to seem like we condoning just killing police officers.
right, right. It ain't that. I don't want to make it seem
Nah.
like that at all. So shout out to my homegirl for checking me on my info. She was like, nope, you're wrong. That was not the same police. That had nothing to do with that. So
Yeah.
appreciate
Once I saw that, I was like, man, that made it totally different for me. It made me look at the situation totally different.
it. Not so much for me, but I get it. I understand it.
It did. I mean, as far as if I was in his shoes, then that would be different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because I understand it from that standpoint. I probably would
yeah,
have, it. And
yeah.
in his mind, it didn't matter who it was. It was just a police officer, and it
Right.
ain't like he was gonna actually find that one. The
They wasn't
likelihood of
gonna let him close to that police. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. So
Yeah.
he had to do it that way in order for it to make
Just to send a
make his
broad
points.
message, but at the end of the day, that still make you wrong, bro. You still
Yeah,
can't you
yeah, it
still
make
can't
you
take
wrong.
someone's life. Yeah, yeah.
Because that person now, that his family got to be without him for no reason. What
Right,
if he had kids? What if he?
right, right, right.
So you have to look at it from both sides in
Yeah.
situations like this.
All sides, bro. Yeah, for sure. You know what? I be thinking about situations like this, bro, and how you hear songs where they say, why do certain things happen in the world and stuff like that. You kind of get this sentiment like everything could be good if people just had a change of mindset. But I be thinking, bro, it'd be like everything is supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Yeah,
some level of a divine. This is supposed to. It has to happen this way. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's like standing over a pond or a lake or something, and you throw a rock in, and that ripple just kind of expand out, and you can see how far it go. And you know what I'm saying? Just kind of thinking about that, it's like that's just kind of how life is, bro. Different people have these different moments in life that kind of just ripple out and affect everybody around them in these different ways. You never know
right,
how and why or nothing like that. So,
right.
man, as unfortunate as a lot of it be, man, if it wasn't supposed to happen, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, I like that point that Viva Zion made. That's like saying a man cheated on me, so now I'm going to cheat on every man I come across. It's not an eye
Right.
for an eye, regardless of of the high emotional situation. We have to be wise. That's true.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
agree with that.
that's facts.
I agree with that. We have to be. That's why I was saying in the beginning, like we have to figure out a way to go about things because it's always going to be looked at different with us,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But did you get a chance to see the video of his brother, whether he was trying to go in the courtroom so he could see him, and they wouldn't let him
Yeah,
out?
yeah. So I saw that, and I did some digging on that before I even, came and
Yeah,
said something about it. And man, I can't. For the same reasons, like I can't really side with the brother. He wrong. Cause I saw the video where, I'm saying, the whole video where on one side, he was waving to the people that he could see, but the brother's kind of on the other end behind him, and he wants to approach the glass and get to knocking on the glass and getting his brother attention. And
yeah.
we all know you can't do that, bro.
Not in
You
court.
know, them police ain't about to let you walk up to that glass and interact with you.
Nah,
If
you
you
can't.
if
Now, if
you
he
can
would
get
have
a
just
wave
been
in
there,
or something like
yeah,
that,
and just been there and standing there or something like that, it would
yeah,
have been different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you can, bro, it's a video, and I'm gonna try to make sure I send it to you.
Okay.
They showed kind of the whole situation from inside the courtroom perspective. So they walk him in handcuffs or whatever, and he kind of, like I said, he kind of looks over to his left, and his people is behind the glass waving at him. So
Yeah,
he kind of get his thing like that. He's waiting, not nodding his head like what I'm saying, my people here. But like I said, his brother is on the other side of the courtroom back there behind the
yeah,
glass, and he wants to talk. He wants to show his brother that he's there. And it's like, okay, I get that, bro, but and you can hear they like, sir, you can't walk to the glass. And they tell him that before he approaches and tries to knock on the glass. And he does it anyway. He causes a big scene.
yeah,
So I feel like if he would have handled it better, like just okay, kind of low key migrate to that side of the courtroom with the other people, so you can kind of get a wave in or something like that or whatever. But
right.
you to try to come in and disrupt and say, "Oh, I'm trying to see my brother." We get it, bro. Emotions
Again,
high,
it's a
but
way to do everything. You
there's
know
a
what
way
I'm
to go
saying?
about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's.
I can't condone what his brother did, bro. You just causing a ruckus right there. Now, I
I
mean,
feel the same way.
if that's the goal, then that's one thing. I get it. Fuck y'all courtroom proceedings. But if that's your goal, but If your goal was really just to get some interaction with your brother, that ain't how you do it.
That ain't how you do it.
Nah.
You could have did that a totally different way.
Yeah. Yeah. A much better way.
Okay, now we're gonna do our first actual segment, some news you can use.
Yeah.
I can't wait to start getting the graphics for all of this. I already got it set up.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like that's it popping up. Yeah.
But have you followed the Diddy case?
Man, I've been trying to tap in with that. Man, they said from the only thing I really saw was they said he was in there kind of looking bad and old and all this other type of
Oh
shit.
yeah,
Which
without a
good,
gray hair.
yeah. But I feel like low key, I think Diddy in there living it the fuck up. You hear me? Like, I think he in there big kicking it. I think that's just more like a charade, like to make him look bad, make him look like he going through a lot and shit like that.
Yeah,
That's how I
yeah,
feel. Cause bro, all your hair ain't great just that goddamn fast. You ain't been in there no 5, 10 years, nigga. It only been some months. So nah, you ain't got gray hair everywhere. Your whole head gray, your
right.
whole beard gray. You look old. That nigga look like he aged 15 years in 6 months.
In 6 months. Yeah, he look like he going through it in there.
Going through it in there, bro. But I don't know, bro. I don't think he is. I think he got too much money and clout for all that. I think it's just a look to make to try to gain some. Like I said, that court of public opinion is a real thing. I think
Yeah.
he's just trying to get some public sympathy out here.
So today was day one of testimony in this trial. So let's say the first day of uh Sean Diddy Combs' federal criminal trial ended after prosecutors called two witnesses, a Los Angeles police officer and a male review manager, to take the stand. The officer recounted responding to a distress call during the Cassie situation,
Yeah.
and the manager testified that he was paid to have sex with Cassie. Yeah, yeah, they gonna witness testimony will resume tomorrow morning, but that's who testified today.
Man, I think it's gonna be so much not criminal shit that come out, but it's gonna be a whole bunch of freaky, kinky, weird shit that get exposed. Like Diddy gonna get in trouble for punching on Cassie. That's over with. Like it's on camera and all that. But he really about to go through the whole mud with this shit. So all his nasty little weird kinky shit that's not against the law. It's not against the law for him to like this type of shit or be into any of this type of shit. He ain't mess with no kids, from
No,
what
he
I've
said it's
heard or
just a
whatever.
swingers lifestyle.
You know what I'm saying? It's people, that's a whole lifestyle. So I think he's just gonna get exposed and kind of embarrassed a little bit. But they gonna try to fuck him over with that Cassie thing because he caught. He ain't doing nothing with that. Ain't no getting out of that.
Well, he already settled with that, so that situation has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
So what is the issue? I don't. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Then. Like,
Okay, so I did a few videos on this on TikTok. I think I uploaded them here too on YouTube. Y'all can go check them out if you want to. But so he sued this liquor company called Diageo or
yeah, yeah,
Diageo, whatever that is, and he won. Right? The amount that it says I couldn't find. I know it was at least like 2 billion or something like that that they were saying. It was in the billions that he won from them. And so right after that situation happened, here comes the Cassie situation.
right,
But he
right.
settled that. See, that's what a lot of people don't know. He already done that whole case is done with Cassie. That situation is settled already. He already paid her off, and
Well, I heard he paid her to keep quiet at first, and then after that is when the video came out and the state picked it up, which is something separate from if Cassie decides she want to pursue.
yeah, but it wasn't criminal.
It's
It was
not
just
criminal.
civil.
No, it's civil. Yeah.
Yeah, he already paid her. He already settled that case. That case is done with Cassie.
So what is he in court for at this point?
Now they trying to get him for racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Oh,
Basically
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
flying them in and having nowhere to go.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think he might get hit up a little bit for all that, maybe. I think again, it's just more so just dragging them through and making them
It's
spend up all,
a humiliation ritual.
yeah, and making them spend up all this money with these court people, so he ain't got the power and the swag he used to.
The
They
money
just
that
trying,
he just won.
they just trying to G check him real quick, like, all right,
Yeah.
bro, you think you something,
Well,
but
see, look, he also started following um what's his name? Farrakhan, right? So Farrakhan did this speech about the Jews on his platform Revolt TV, and Diddy live streamed it. And so right after that, Diddy started talking about he was gonna start this all black party just for us, that where we ain't really
there you go,
Democrats or Republicans. We have
there
our
you
own
go,
party.
there you go, there it is.
And when he
Between them situations right there,
that's
that's
what it
all the
took.
ammunition they need. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it took. And next thing you know, here come all of this.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That make all the sense in the world now. Yeah,
He was talking anytime they go to talking about uniting black people,
they
anybody
too
that
loud. They
you
too
can't
loud.
you know what I'm saying? They gotta stop it.
Yeah, they too loud. Diddy of all people, like it be the ones that's like they never wanna they wanna be the face of the movement. They don't wanna fund the movement and actually have the movement moving and doing something. They wanna make sure they just the face of it.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
because as rich as these people is, they could throw 100,000 to this organization that's in the hood, 100,000 there, and that's life changing in the hood. But
yeah.
that's nothing to them. They pop that shit in the club like it's
Yeah,
nothing.
they they
So
pay that in taxes.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, do y'all are they really talking about? Are they really helping for real? For real? Like that Dr. Umar Johnson or Ufantunde and whatever you want to call himself now, he talk about that all the time. Like, man, these billionaires and millionaires and all this shit, bro. Like, they flaunt all this money. Look at all the black people just in entertainment and sports. That alone solves whatever problem we think we got.
I don't think they're allowed to use their money for that. And when the moment that they start or even start talking, look at what Nike did to Jalen Brown when he started talking about what he was gonna do with his new
Cause,
contract
cause
with Black
motherfuckers
people.
want to do a whole bunch of talking. Again, they want to be the face of it. They want to be
That's the
known for it.
problem. You got the
Shut
money,
your
you
ass
don't need to
up,
be out in the open with it.
man. When these big corporations get to moving and these, you know what I'm saying? We all know that politicians is all puppets for who? The people in the background that's making all the decisions. Black
Exactly.
people don't want to do that. They don't want to be in the background just giving the money and making all the low key important decisions. They want
Gotta
to be
be
in
in the
front, getting
yeah,
fame and all
gotta be
this.
front and center. And
Yeah,
that's
and that's the
the
problem.
people that's front and center don't have the power. They
They
ain't gonna
don't
be in the front and center if they got the power.
exact for this reason, but black people can't get that through their head.
That's our problem.
Yeah,
We have to get
we
over
got to
that.
get recognition for everything.
Yeah, and that's something I don't understand.
Yeah,
It got dark out there quick on you, didn't
real quick, bro. Real quick. Shout out to Houston, Texas, though. Sugar
it? Yeah.
Land.
What you got going now? Where you at? You know you be doing that trucking thing.
Yeah, I'm down in Sugarland right now, bro. I just picked up this load, headed up to KCMO, my home, one of my hometowns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be sliding back up that way. Shit, probably right after this, for real.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So
That's what's up. Um, it says Johnson detailed that Combs forced his former girlfriend Cassie to have sex with me. This is what I don't understand. Why are they even use? They trying to use Cassie in this situation. No, that tells me that they really don't have nothing. That
yeah,
look,
who is where's
they,
who's all these other girls and these other women that's bringing up these said allegations?
let me. I had did a little video on this. Let me see if I still got it. I don't think I do. Nah, I don't got it. Uh, it was two ladies also that said they was gonna testify, but they weren't gonna give no names out. And I'm like, how can they allow that? You can give a fake name during the testimony, but the charge is gonna be real.
Yeah,
No,
man.
I feel like you should have to give your name. You need to tell who you are. If you're making these
Yeah,
type of allegations against
yeah,
somebody, I need
yeah.
to know who you are.
Right, yeah, and I've heard some people speak on that. I'm not 100% sure how that works.
Yeah,
Man, but that show ain't that shit ain't cool if that's the case. Like, if they can just come with anything out the blue and they don't have no real information and
exactly.
they don't have to give up none of their real information, like just in case they lying or need to be exposed about what they doing. They don't, man, that's some fucked up shit, bro.
Exactly. That's why it's so complicated when it comes to these type of situations because anybody can say anything against you publicly and
Yeah,
they gonna cover it. But let's say you win the case, they're not gonna cover it the same way. So your public image is already ruined just
yep,
because somebody said something. They could be lying.
yep.
That's the crazy part.
I would say if you have any type of stature or level or notoriety or whatever, first thing I'm doing, like Jay Z did, I'm suing for defamation of character.
Hell
You can't
yeah.
you can't do this to me, and I'm making it as
Hell yeah, I'm
loud
suing.
and as public as you did. What I'm about to
They need to start charging these women for that shit. I bet this shit'll stop. It'll come to an end. Start giving
man,
their ass a third-degree felony or something.
something, yeah, yeah. I think for situations like that, as far as the whole gender thing or whatever, like they get away with it because no one, for as far as men go, we get so kind of we can roll with the punches on shit that we don't really be petitioning some of this little petty shit like that.
Yeah,
But and we view it as petty. Like a lot of the ladies, they don't view that shit as petty. They be going hard in the paint for it, for everything. They want everything they got coming and some. And
yeah,
men don't be doing that. We be like, that sounds like a whole bunch of headache. Fuck it, it ain't even all that big of a deal. So, and that's why we don't really get nowhere with it. So, you know, I think we gotta, if people really feeling the way, you gotta start making that type of movement. Like all the talking, everybody that feel a way about something, like it's a way to go about it. Everybody got the internet and information now. Like we really gotta start
getting
putting,
out and spreading the
doing,
word.
you know what I'm saying, action. Like make this shit move if you really
That's
feeling
that's
the
the
way.
only way anything gonna change.
Yeah,
The only way.
yeah.
Which brings me to the next point because speaking of that situation, Shannon and his situation is going on, but
Right.
I was reading something where they was talking about Bill Belichick versus Shannon, and they have a similar situation, but Bill's is looked at totally different than
Yeah.
Shannon's.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's of course it's a double standard just by default, but again, it's a way to go about it. Understanding the position you in, like what's fair and how things are, we understand, especially as black men, what that difference is. So, and I will say it is a double standard, just off the flip. But I will say also, Bill Belichick is married to that little young chick.
No,
Shannon Sharpe, no, that's just his
no,
little
that's just his
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
Even still, it's still more of a coordinated kind of. They're more official than Shannon Sharpe just trying to bust down this little young chick. That's that's a
Yeah,
that's a
but I
that's
think
the
what
only
people are
been.
talking about is the age difference.
Yeah, I mean he gonna get looked at as a man. It's and they kind of put themselves in this position, but kind of that big black burly man and the little white woman, kind of kink fetish weird thing they be having going on. Bro, you asking for that?
Yeah, you did,
You seen that little
but he
bitty
was
girl, bro?
warned. Like several people warned him, even on his own show, they warned him, and he didn't listen.
Fam, it's 2025, bro. Who gotta warn you about this shit?
It shouldn't. Shit, you would
Come
think,
on, come
especially at his
on, man.
age, he should
At
know better.
at your old ass age, you know what the fuck went on when you was born. This was not cool, bro.
Right.
You came from the South, bro. You know this ain't cool. So this is kind of him just acting out his little young kid fantasies because he couldn't
That's all
talk
that
to white
was.
girls when he was young. But it's
That's
still a
all it
double
was.
standard, and it's still fucked up though. But if it was a young black chick, nobody will be on his ass like that. I don't
I
think.
was just about to ask you that if it was a black chick, would it be a totally different?
Yep,
situation.
way different. If it was
Yeah,
a young black chick, it wouldn't be none. Wouldn't nobody give a fuck.
yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. That's true.
So
They
you
wouldn't.
ask, you asking for it, bro. You asking for that.
He put
You
himself
ask,
in that situation,
you know it.
thinking that when you start getting a little status like that, and you ain't never had it before at that level, you start feeling yourself. And I
And you got
believe that's what it
to
was.
you got to think, bro. He an older black dude from the rural South. That was
Yeah,
to them niggas. That was like the forbidden fruit.
it
You're
was.
not allowed to look at them. RP to Emmett Till. You're not allowed to look at them, wink at them, whistle at them, nothing. So for him to come from that and then get all the muscles and the money and all the fame and the status and all this, I guess he couldn't help himself.
He could. He could.
Yeah,
He
he got it though. He gonna learn today.
yeah. He
Better
lost
leave
all
them
this.
motherfuckers
And then
alone.
this is what's crazy though. What if he wins the case and proves that it was a consensual and it was, a setup and all of that?
It,
It's
it
not
ain't
gonna
gonna
matter.
that ain't gonna matter.
Your
Just
image
like the
already
Diddy
what
thing.
it is now.
Just like the Diddy thing. Just like the hell. Who was that back in the day? Not too long ago though. Johnny Depp. When his wife was tripping out on him and had him in
But
court.
that situation was different because
It's
once he
different, but the
finally
image
won
is
that,
still.
people was really kind of on his side anyway. They was already looking at her like she was.
But it was such a. But at first, though, I'm saying them first 3-4 years that happened until the
Yeah,
trial was so,
yeah,
and that's what I'm saying about making the trial so. When the woman gets found out about this shit, like making this shit so public and putting it out there, so they get the same judgment that what I'm saying we get.
yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that it just man, when it come to that type of stuff, you just kind of you gotta be careful. You gotta dodge them bullets, and if you got that type of fetish, bro, you better be smarter about it than that. That's for shit show.
That's been a trending topic too that I've been paying attention to is black men dating outside of their race. And it's
Yeah.
been a lot of people that have a problem with it and some that don't, but mostly black women do have a problem with it. What do you think about that? Do you think black men should date out of their race? Black women should date out of their race, or you think people
Um,
should stay within their race?
I
It's
think
a tough
it depends.
situation.
I think it depends on who you are and what your goals are in life. Me personally, I'm a pro black love type of dude.
Yeah,
So you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna go out my way to make sure I'm talking to somebody black. Um, Now, have I dated, a Hispanic or whatever? Yeah. I haven't dated no white woman before, but I say to each his own, but it's more so about your goals because everybody deserves the right to choose their own path of what they trying to do with themselves. Some people just want love no matter who it comes from, no
yeah,
matter what gender, no matter what race, no matter what anything, background, whatever. They just want somebody to give a fuck about them. So, and
yeah,
I can't knock that at all. And sometimes you're not guaranteed to find somebody of your, especially in America where it's kind of a melting pot. Like, yeah, you got a black culture, white culture, whatever, but overall, it's not really a. It's nowadays, it's more so a culture that you choose to subscribe to. You got to find your people amongst people.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, if you want to see, if you have a purpose and you want to see black people win in general, specifically before anything else, then yeah, you got to be on that. But you can't hold that to everybody. That's not okay.
Yeah, I think you should love who love you. You know what I'm saying? But my personal, I've never dated a white girl. You know what I'm saying? I've never had a white girlfriend or nothing like that. My granny, my granny always told me when I was young, I could bring in any chick in the house but a white girl. They didn't
Yeah,
play that shit
yeah,
back in the
yeah.
'90s. It
Them
was
old
different.
school women, they wasn't about none of that. You bring
No,
them
they
home, you
didn't.
better not come back at all.
They didn't have that. I had,
Yeah,
but seeing a lot of my homeboys that did, I got some now that I got a partner that's married to a white girl. I got one that dated, but I also saw the other side of it because I had a classmate that well, not a classmate, but he was a little older, but he was dating a white girl and they got caught having sex by her dad and she yelled rape. Yeah. And so you know how that situation went. I
Yeah,
in Arkansas, it's a small town, you know what I'm saying? And it's the 90s. Of course they was gonna hang him,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that
yeah.
has always been something you have to be careful about. Going back to Shannon's situation, because it's a
Right.
white girl, that's why I believe it's more scrutinized than
Yeah.
it would have been had it
You
been a
better,
black girl.
you better believe that. You better believe that, bro. Like, and this is kind of going. This is in general. This is kind of going back to the whole Rodney Hinton thing and all that, bro. Like, as much as we want to try to individualize things, bro, it can this we live very tribal lifestyles.
We
Like
do.
just by default, as human beings, we have our own tribes that you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it when you it 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 feels a different type of way when somebody from outside your community do somebody from inside your community, whatever community that is,
Yeah,
when
they
they do
always gonna have
that.
a personal feeling towards it because it's another
Yeah.
community.
And at this point, I think black women is on kind of on some nanny boo boo type shit. Like this, what you niggas get. We sick of y'all. And for real, and honestly
Especially in
though,
Shannon's situation. That's all you saw in there. That's what he get.
exactly, exactly. And I'm gonna take a second and defend black women on this point because I I've I've seen it and I've seen how they get misconstrued with they issue. Like more so, what I've seen is they don't like when certain dudes get to popping off about how terrible black women are. Like
Yeah.
they thing is okay, you can feel your way and love who you want to love and go to your white woman, whatever. Just don't try to come over here and shit on us for what you feel like we don't do for you. So I'll give them that. On the flip side to that same coin, so many black women say, they want black men to be leaders in the community and this, that, and the third, and just kind of how men are in general, we are less likely to accept just kind of anything. So we speak out towards things that we don't really care for. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of our nature in establishing said law and order, whatever that is in our habitat, whatever. So men speaking towards what we don't like, we're just giving you whatever said cheat code to say, hey, if you we're giving you more ammunition to shoot with. Like y'all say y'all want XYZ type of men and you say you want this, that, and the third, but then when we tell you what XYZ type men don't like, you got an attitude. So I think it's a double sided coin. You just gotta be careful with it.
The problem that I have with that is when it comes to black women, they don't have that same type of energy towards a black woman that dates outside of her race because it's a totally different reaction when it comes to that.
Yeah,
So my thing is that's why I say it's a double standard. It's a contradiction when they speak about that because
it
it's
is.
okay for the black woman, but it's not for the black man. Why is that a problem? And then when you spoke about like them on the leader, the thing is what comes with that. What comes with a man that has boundaries and a man that is a leader and know what he wants. A lot
That's
of
what they
them,
don't like.
that's what they don't like. But then
Yeah,
it becomes you sassy and you this and you that because you holding them accountable for what they do. That
right.
turns the situation different, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I agree, bro. I agree with that. I think man, more importantly than any of this with any of this double standards are a thing, and they are here and they fit and they have a purpose. There are double standards and they for a reason. My only thing is when people start complaining about the other side's double standard. Like women
Yeah,
got double standards and they don't. It seems like they don't want to allow the men to have our double standards though. Like it's okay for them to have they double standards, but our double standards is all fucked up. We wrong for it.
yeah.
And it's like that should be like, man, like
It's confusing.
it's not simply
and
confusing, bro.
and and
It's infuriating, and it's like
oh
a
yeah, that
sickness of
too.
like it's like a it's like it's like the teacher's pet, right? And this is no disrespect, I promise, to no woman, but it seems like overall, especially in the black community, it's like black women with the government kind of, it's like that teacher's pet with the teacher. They do fucked up shit too, but the men, everybody else is who get in trouble for it, and they kind of just skate by with what they do and can get away with what the shit that they do. And for us, it's like it's never the person that starts it; it's the person that responds that gets in trouble. So,
Right.
and women have a good way of placing themselves, positioning themselves in every situation as the victim and as the person that this happened to me. I didn't have any control. This happened to me. So woe is me to some degree. And just by default, we not allowed to have that disposition at all. So when they play
Right.
that card, we kind of stuck with it.
We allow it. I think men today, I look at it like this. A lot of the stuff that women complain about is they have a point to a
I'm
certain
gonna say,
degree, because
yeah,
men today have not been the same as what, like, even the men that I grew up with.
they
You
don't
know what I'm
want
saying?
them men though. Think about we had them men. Them men existed before.
They
Them
still
women
do.
rebelled. Them women rebelled against those men and said, "Fuck you. Fuck what you got going on. I don't need you. I'd rather work."
A lot of that too was the government. See, it's been a lot of manipulation behind a lot of this too, when it comes to a lot of it, because the giving them Section 8 and that Fair Housing Act made them feel like they didn't need the black man.
It empowered them. Yeah,
It
shit.
empowered them.
Yeah, man.
But uh I just think now, instead of us going against each other, black men against black women against black men, we need to start figuring out solutions to make this better,
Yeah,
because we've gotten away from the family aspect of things. And
yeah,
that was always the cornerstone of the black community, which was family. That's why they always said it takes a village to raise a kid.
right, right.
That's the way we live by being in. That's how I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah,
Like, I remember you could be on one side of town and be doing some shit, and then by the time you get home, they already know, because it's done been a phone call made.
yeah,
So you get in
yeah,
trouble twice, really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, bro, that's what needs to happen.
It does.
I don't know how it's going to happen because I don't see black women. Sorry to pinpoint y'all again, but I don't see them going backwards.
What do you
You
mean
know what I'm saying?
backwards? You
To
know,
what? Because we keep talking about what shit was, and clearly they didn't want that. Like they talk about those type of men when it comes to services and things that they did, but those men were not liked. Those men was firm. Those men was mean. Those men wasn't playing no games with nobody about shit. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want them men because if they did, the women from there would have kept those men. They didn't.
but you got to think, a
They
lot of
they
those
still
men.
complain about those men to this day if you listen to them.
You got to think though, a lot of those men were taken out of the house, either by whether you were selling drugs or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the situation was. And so once the men that was replacing them came in, they got used to that, because those dudes were easier to deal with.
Right. I think even before the selling drug and all that part, like, right before that kicked off in the what would you say, mid 70s, early 70s maybe, when that really got
Like
real
the
heavy in our community.
80s.
80s,
The 80s. Because still
by
in the
then
in the 70s, it was still that family aspect.
that's when the late 60s and 70s, I believe, that's when they started implementing this government assistance and all this other type of stuff, and
Yeah.
simultaneously taking certain programs and stuff out the
Yeah.
inner city.
Yeah.
So in the 60s and 70s, they working on that, and then come the 80s, men don't have no job. Let's give it, they got government assistance over here, but can't no man be in the house with you. So
Yeah.
put him out. But as by default as women, they as much as they claim that they don't like being around us or kind of have this disposition towards us, they man, they are us. They are literally put on this earth for us. I don't care what nobody
Right.
talks about. They
Right.
came from us for us.
For
So
us.
they not gonna leave men alone. All that did was embolden them to choose the man that they want versus the man that they need.
Yeah.
And and here we are, 20, 30, 40 years later, this where we at. So again, with me saying going backwards, like women's not going back to what it was in the 50s. They don't want to do that. They're not listening to nobody. They want partnership. They don't want a leader. They say they want a leader, but they only want him to lead on the things that they choose for him to lead.
Yeah. That they
You
want
know
to
what I'm
be
saying?
led on.
Yeah, they want to choose what they are
And
laying on,
usually it's just leading financially. That's the only thing these modern women
or
talk about.
planning dates or some shit. Like, why don't you pick what we eat tonight? They think
Everything
that
comes back to money with them now. Whatever
money
it
is
is, whatever the
yeah,
situation is,
right,
it comes back to money.
right. So you know, I don't see how we get back to the family aspect unless, man, it's gonna take a whole lot of compromising, and who's gonna do the compromising?
Well, you know, of course, men gonna have to do most of the compromising, but the thing is, women gonna have to change their mentality, and men gonna have to stand on that. You know what I'm saying, and not back down from that because you know now they like to use different things as a weapon, especially
Yeah,
the kids or sex or when it comes to them type of situations. So
men need to be a lot more disciplined when it comes
disciplined. That's the thing.
to women, especially. Like, for you, from young men, we are sexualized, and it's not just from other older men trying to get us to go holler at this girl or that girl. From
Right.
young men, I saw a video, and I see videos like this all the time. It was a little boy, and he's just looking at this woman, and she's bent over with her ass in his face with booty shorts on. So
I saw
from
that. That was his
young,
mama, right?
now that was like, I don't know who it was. She did. I
I,
think she said TT or something like that. But the point is, from young men, there are older, there are a lot more women pedophiles than we give credit to in the community.
yeah,
Almost every male I know has been touched on, approached something by an older woman when they was in their preteen.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Now, but as a male, you don't look at it like that because you know, especially a teenage, you
right,
like you thinking you doing something, but the whole time,
I'm talking about we feel like we motherfucking. You hear me?
you know what I'm
You know
saying?
what I'm saying? I'm
But
going to school
yeah,
the next day like, what you talking about? Like, little girl, get out my face. You hear me? Like, you know what I'm saying? But nah, that shit wrong. That shit wrong as fuck. And
it
that
actually is.
and that shit hypersexualizes men, and man, that shit don't always be going good. Not every man has the type of reserve necessary to really be around women a lot. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, it
especially
be,
if you ain't around women a lot.
you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't, like, the amount of sexual exposure, the arousal that different men get,
Yeah,
just being out in public with all these women wearing leggings and showing every damn thing. Like, I get that women think that they should be able to wear what they want and do what they want, but I think this is where that law and order and leadership come in at.
it
I
does.
understand you feel like you want to wear what you want to wear, but this public, and no, you not. I
Yeah,
don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? But they're not going to accept that. So how do we get back to that part? Because that's going to be part of it. How do we do that? Who going to listen to that? Or do we just only strictly have to talk to or deal with that strict group of women who
one
understand?
thing I know, women would do what they know to do for the person that they want to do it for.
Yeah,
I've seen some of the most, I don't know
that's
how
the
to put it,
problem, though.
but yeah, that is the problem. But a lot of that is because of the men.
It's
We can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't sit here and just
is
say,
it?
yeah, but because we turned it into that because women really just do what they think we want, the man that they want. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them say, "Oh no, I'm just doing this for me," and no, they're not. No, they're not. They trying to go to the club to catch a nigga or catch a, you know what I'm saying? They what that's what they out for. But
I
the
got
thing is, the men these days, like you say, have no discipline and have no control. So they so easy when it comes to those type of situations. All she got to do is flash a little ass, or, you know what I'm saying? And they ready to give up everything in their pockets.
But bro, I feel you right about that. You 100% right about that. But it don't start there. This is coming from where like them men come from these women who raised them by themselves. How many? What percentage of the black community is raised by women? A whole bunch of them.
Why is
So
that?
be, they rejecting said leadership because why
But
they get
the
to choose
men
the man that they want. The
we
men that they
chose to
want are not
leave
good
that.
men.
We chose to leave though. We made that decision to sell those drugs. We made that decision to want to be Tupac in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Every man didn't do that. The men that they chose to have kids with did that. Why do drug dealers have so many kids with so many different women?
cause they choose their lifestyle.
These women are choosing the men that they want to have sex with. They're
Yeah.
choosing that because they have whatever on the back end to say, I got Section 8 or I'll work for myself or whatever the case. I don't need a man, so I'll fuck with whoever I want. But the women don't choose good men. They never choose a man with good
They
character.
choosing the money.
That's what I'm saying. And those men don't have good character. So how can you blame the
That's what
men
I just said. That's
who choose
why
the
I blame the men, because if the men had the right character, the women wouldn't be able to allow to choose just anybody.
But
Because
that's
you be
saying that everything got to be perfect for them to choose whoever they want. They
no,
have to have some discernment for themselves.
no, that's just saying that we need to take accountability for ourselves first as men and change that.
Every,
Then
every man not
because
gonna do that.
then we lead them where they at.
The women don't leave them where they at. That's the problem. They have
You
kids
need,
with
but there are not all women are like that, man. It's a lot of women that don't like that type of shit, that twerking and
them.
they
Is
don't
the
want to
ones
be
that
associated with that.
we ain't got to worry about them. The ones that's popping out all the damn kids is the ones that's fucking on the drug dealers. They got 4, 5, 6, 7 kids in the hood. Them the ones that's made. That's like we conflating two different
Who
arguments. I
fuck?
think
Yeah, but who fucking them? The man.
they
Why he
fucking
ain't
each
using no
other.
condom?
They
Why
fucking
he
each
ain't?
other.
Why he ain't putting no condom on?
You pointing back and forth like everybody got a role in it. They not
That's what I'm
raping these
saying.
women.
It
They
go
not
both
raping these women.
ways. It
Right,
go
right,
both ways.
right. It's both of them. It's both. So you can't.
But
But
when it comes to us being the leaders, we have to be the ones to start it, to take accountability as far as starting.
we been
Regardless,
doing that. We can't, man. We
nah,
can't
no, we
change.
haven't.
We can't change every man, especially when those men are getting rewarded.
That's the problem. We are the ones that's rewarded.
Okay, so go change those. No, we not. The women
Yeah,
are
we are.
rewarding them with sex and kids.
Eh,
You can't go change no grown man about what he want to do. If he
that's
he fucking that girl, putting a baby in her. What
it,
can we do as men? Go fight him? No, that woman has to
no.
say no. I don't want to have another kid with you.
But see, a lot
What
of
we
that
talk
be
about?
because they be lost. They don't have the direction. Nobody's
Then
ever
you giving
taught
them an
them the right way.
excuse. The men is lost too, if that's the case.
I'm talking.
They,
That's who I'm talking about.
yeah,
I'm
they
talking
all
about the
lost.
men. The men
Yeah.
is who lost.
What can we do about them? We can't do nothing about them if they grown. They grown and got kids already. What can we do
Then
about them?
lead them where they at
The
and
women got
focus on the ones that want to change. See, if
the
they already in that situation, there ain't nothing to change about it. But you got to start with the ones that's not and get them to change their mentality so it don't continue. If we change, say we start focusing on the younger men and not the, you know what I'm saying, and start focusing on them and getting them to change their mindset, it'll change for the future.
not so much if the ones that's getting the coochie over there is the knucklehead niggas. That been the case. We all know
No,
this.
but the reason why the knucklehead niggas getting it is because it's glorified in the music, it's glorified in the TV shows, in the movies. Stop glorifying that shit.
It sound good. We been saying that though.
Yeah, but ain't nobody doing it. Ain't nobody even trying to do it.
The power, the who is pushing it? It's a propaganda machine.
Mm,
America is a
yeah,
propaganda machine.
yeah.
That's not gonna change. They doing this on purpose for us to stay having this type of conversation over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. But as long as you start a movement with it, see that's the thing with black people. It has to become like a trend or a movement in order for it to catch on for everybody. Because if
Yeah,
it's just a few of us, you know what I'm saying? It's 47 over 47 million black people in America. If we could get at least half of that to start changing, even just a quarter to start changing their mentality, that's a start.
yeah. Um, I think I think it all start with resources, not just simply
That's
money,
that, yeah. That's
but
it.
man,
Information.
when you have knowledge and some resources behind you, like even if you have resources, but just having the resources behind you, you have the ability to make different decisions. Um, we don't be given enough. I won't say that, but when you grow up, how certain people grow up, you don't know shit else.
That's
So you
true.
gotta try to. That's why I be saying like going and trying to help these kids, these babies, in like elementary school kids. That's who. Fuck these grown people. I don't give a damn
That's what
about
I'm
nobody.
saying. That's who
Yeah,
we focus on.
yeah. I
So
don't
by
give
the
a damn about
time they
nobody being
grow up,
grown.
they'll change it.
Yeah,
They'll be the ones to change all of this. The
that's who we got to target. Yeah, I'm with
yeah.
you. Cause these grown motherfuckers
No,
is like they
no,
out of
they already where they at. So that's why I
yeah,
say we lead them where they at. We
yeah,
focus
yeah.
on teenage and down. If they willing to change their mind as teenagers, but really the younger ones,
The
8,
younger ones.
10,
Yeah,
12, you know what I'm saying? That
yeah, yeah,
those that's where we start.
yeah.
And we get them to change how their outlook and change how they look at the whole situation.
Right,
Maybe it'll start changing for the black community in the future. Because right
right.
now, at the rate it's going, we doomed. We
Yeah,
ain't ready for nothing.
nothing. I'm talking about nothing. And it's so crazy, bro. We be having these talks in our community about, John Jones, that UFC fighter. They
Yeah.
asked him about that gorilla versus 100 men question, and I loved his response so much, bro, because he laughed at it and he said, "You know what's happening in Burkina Faso?
Mm.
Like, don't nobody give a fuck about this goddamn gorilla, bro. They having a movement over here, and shit is about to change. Did you hear that they got all these white South African people coming over here? Y'all better pay attention to what's going on. Fuck this
Let me
gorilla
tell
shit."
you what that is about. And see, a lot of people ain't paying attention to what's really going on. I'm gonna tell you what's going on.
Yeah,
So they
talk
did
to
a
him, bro.
study. They did a study in 95, and they realized that the white population was going to be reducing by 2045. That's what it came out back then. But then they redid it in 2015, and they found out that it's shrunk even more. So that's what the whole Ukraine movement was about, was to get the white population back up because they are having more deaths than births in their community.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is facts. You know what I'm saying? Like you can
Right.
go
Yeah.
look this
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so because of that, they are starting to bring in a lot of these people. And they're gonna classify them as white. That's raising the population back up. They do not want to become minorities, and they already are,
It's too
but they're
late.
not telling
Yeah.
you. It's too late.
But if you got eyeballs and you walk outside and you look around, if you've been in America since the '80s and you walk outside and you look around, it do not look the same. It's not.
No,
America's
it don't
not
matter
white
where
no
you
more.
go.
America's not white no more.
And I was talking to this lady from over there. I talked to this lady from South Africa over there, and she said there is no that all of that is a lie. They are not over there killing white farmers. They
Yeah.
over there taking their land, and you know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. But now they mad because a lot of these people are being kicked out because of,
Yeah.
like you said, what's going on in Burkina Faso and
Yeah.
the area surrounding it. Because I think it's two more countries that's done joined him too, right?
Yeah, I believe Mali and some other one, and then different ones, and like I said, South Africa and some other places kind of starting to kind of catch on and
Yeah.
start shifting some shit over there. So I
So
said that to kind of say like, man, we arguing about little stuff, bro, and these governments, these continents is shifting, and
that's what we need to start focusing on.
we got to focus on something completely different. I'm gonna say it every time I'm on here. Black people, man, we need to start. Whoever need to start figuring out how to. create a revenue stream and get some land over in Africa somewhere, bro.
Speaking of, that brought me to my next topic, which is investing in Africa.
Yeah,
Now, I looked it up. 1,000 US dollars is over $18,000 in uh ZAR, whatever that is.
yeah,
That's in South African money.
yeah,
Rand.
yeah.
Okay, so if we just invested 2,000, $3,000 over there, 5,000, you know what I'm saying? Like it don't even take much. We could
It don't
start
take
building our own city in Africa. We could have our own land. We could have our own country over there. But
yeah.
we have to unite as one, as black people first, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Like we need to do. We have a chance right now to start doing what every other group of people do when they come to America. The
Yes,
Middle Eastern people, the Chinese people, when they come to America, they still got all their stuff from back home over there. They come over here, they start a business, and they build their business over here,
and
and
then
they
they
send
send their
them
money
U.S.
back.
dollars back to
Yep,
their home country where you can convert 2,000 into 250,000 like that.
like it's nothing.
You know what I'm saying? And on top of converting that much money over, the labor over there is way cheaper. Period.
Yeah,
So that same dollar stretches even further than it already stretches just by converting it from U.S. to whatever it is.
yeah.
So, man, I think that's a big thing.
Now
So
the
many
thing
people.
is finding the right situation to invest in, because you know
Yeah,
how that's one thing I try to tell that lady when I be talking to her. I tell her you have to understand how Black Americans view things. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They because a lot of the times when we talking, they kind of talk like they talking to themselves to me, and I have to tell them like we don't operate like that.
right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? We operate totally different over here. And so
Yeah.
that's something I feel like as far as the communication goes, that's got to be better. What do you think about that?
I 100% agree. I think those of us who have that type of mind to want to understand somebody from a completely separate perspective and background should put forth the effort to do so. Like for me, I would be one of those type of people. Like, I can sit back and try to understand what you mean by what you're saying to me and try to translate that over to my people like, hey, this is what it is. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? In a way that we can digest it. Because you get to talking that shit back and forth and it don't go smooth and it can get out of hand real quick.
Yeah.
So,
Especially, the way they might express it a certain way, but not knowing that
you
that
know what
type
I'm
of
saying?
tone is taken different to Black Americans. And you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? The
yeah,
whole shit could be I kind of went through that situation. So.
yeah, yeah. And that goes back to kind of what we were talking about before on one of the other live streams we was doing, as far as, man, us being able to get to a point where we can communicate and disagree and not see eye to eye and still be able to talk and be and deal with each other cordially. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a part of building this family dynamic that we need in the Black community. Like just dealing with the next person that you're talking to that just happens to be Black. Give that person that wiggle room to
Right.
express themselves in whatever way and not immediately get offended at what they saying and how they saying it, and
Yeah.
try and at least try to digest it and come back with something productive to move the conversation forward. Man, we get caught up on semantics and little petty shit so quick. Like it diverts. We can be talking about something that's global, that can really shift something,
Yeah.
but we can get offended at how somebody said something, what they responded to, and why they responded to, or whatever. And man, everything can go left, and that goes with me, everybody. Black Americans, we kind of it's
Well,
been like that for a
we already
yeah,
have a certain outlook anyway about
yeah,
because of how we've been treated, and we feel like nobody
right,
has had our back.
right,
We all we got. So when you
right,
look at it that way, it's kind of understandable. But we do, in order for this unity to work, we have to get out of that type of mindset.
agree.
That's the only way it's gonna work because we got to be open, willing to hear them out. They got to be willing to hear us out.
Yeah, yeah,
But once that is started, that's gonna be a major problem. If
yeah,
if
yeah,
that's gonna be a major problem because the fear of it, just that type of unified front of blacks, Americans, and Africans united.
yeah. I'm telling you, bro. I think how Black Americans get treated in America and anywhere else we are in the world is directly tied to how they treat
Africa.
Africans and how they disrespect Africa. They don't. These people don't even need, like, they come into your country and they say everything you find in your country belongs to me. You got to give it to me, and then we go give it to them.
And then we go give it to them.
Who the fuck is gonna respect us anywhere on the world if that's the reality?
Yeah.
Come on now. But
And
if
then
we
you look
start,
at us over here in America and shit, all they gotta do is say some racist shit or you know what I'm saying, use something that's gonna trigger those emotions and you got black people everywhere. All of so you're right. It's we really have to change the way we think, the way we look at shit.
I think though, Black Americans are the key to Africa really liberating itself
We
because
are.
Black Americans and Black Europeans, but Black Americans more than anything because we just tend to have a more rebellious spirit. Like,
Yeah.
we got to
Do
get to,
we?
yeah,
Do we
yeah.
though? Because we only rebel against each other.
No, we didn't used to. We didn't used
I'm,
to.
I'm
Now
talking
we
about today. The
today
the
today,
black, and that's one thing that I have a problem with the black community today. We fight each other quick as hell. But the black community back in the day, you couldn't get them to fight each other. They was united.
yeah,
And that's our problem now. You know what I'm saying? We are quick to kill the next black man or whatever the situation may be. But when it comes to fighting that real enemy, the real fight, we don't do that. We'll get on social media and complain or march.
yeah, yeah. Because we feel hopeless against that enemy, and one reason we feel hopeless against that enemy is because we don't have no home country that got our back. When them Chinese people get disrespected, China coming. When the Middle Eastern people get disrespected,
They
they know
come.
what's up. They know what's up.
Shit, we get
So
this. We ain't had a slave ship, a rescue boat, nothing come for us.
not a nothing. And no disrespect to my African people, but they first got over here and looked at us like we wasn't shit. Like, if it wasn't for us, you would not be able to come over here. You know that,
That's
right?
true.
Like,
That's true.
it would
And
shit would
that's
not
what
be.
I don't understand about that situation. They come up, you know, when they come over here, they look down upon us, and I don't
They got
understand that.
brainwashed. They got
Yeah,
brainwashed.
yeah,
Man, they did a number on us, bro. I'm talking about from top to bottom. They devised the plan so locked tight from before they even entered into Africa, before we were slaves. They came up with a plot so cold, bro. We got to go in and just divide and conquer, just split at every. You know how you tearing paper, and every little piece you just tear another little piece and another little piece and another little piece. That's all it's been for hundreds of years. So of course we at this point now of tearing each other to pieces. So we just got to be able to realize that that's what we doing,
right,
and we have to stop doing that. Those of us who have the mindset and understand what's going on, we have to give that leeway to those of us who don't comprehend what's going on, so they can see by action, because they're not going to comprehend it through somebody telling them.
hmm
If one of them, if if somebody disrespecting you, man, give them a little grace and get out the way.
you
Yeah,
never
it's
know.
hard. No,
Yeah,
you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to do none of that shit. But damn, we got to start somewhere, bro. We can't just keep crashing out on each other just because we can't crash out on the next one that it's
yeah,
really for. That's
that's
what
what it's really about too.
yeah,
A lot of that be directed. It's because they want to crash out on somebody else, but they don't know
exactly.
how
We
or
feel
how to
hopeless
go
that we
about it.
can't crash. We can't crash out on the ones that we want to because we feel hopeless. We ain't got nothing to back us. Matter of
Well, the
fact,
thing is, we don't have nobody leading it. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I found out when I did that video about us becoming our own nation. It showed me that black people are just waiting on somebody to step out there as that leader because a lot of them was telling me to start it. I'm like, hey, all right, I
oh,
don't want to. I don't know about that route. You know?
I feel you, bro, because they'll kill him. We know
Yeah.
what'll happen,
But
and they
see,
did it on purpose.
today they do it different. They can't just assassinate them like Martin and Malcolm no more. So what they do is ruin your public image
You
by
think so?
having 64 women come out of nowhere with no names and say you touched them back in 2003.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna kill your whole image right there.
yeah, yeah. I
It don't
mean,
have to be true. They don't care if it's true.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if it's not just that. It's not just that. I think we are not calculated enough
We're not.
to make sure that we are grabbing one of these young dudes from when one of these well-spoken, charismatic little dudes. You know what I'm saying? Who can talk good as a motherfucker. Grab
Yeah.
one of them early when they 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old and groom them to be a politician like them white people do.
Yeah. Groom them to be a doctor. Groom them to be a lawyer.
That's
Hell,
what I'm saying.
a lot of our problem is because we don't groom our kids to be police officers.
We
We
let them
need to
be
start.
whatever the fuck they want to be. That dumbass shit.
We
No,
need
it don't.
we need to start telling plumbers again, having trades. We need that again, having our
Yeah.
own resources, our own.
We can take over this country alone if we just took over the trade like we did back in the day. That's how we got out of slavery, out of poverty,
Yeah,
all these different cities, Black Wall Street level cities, and all this through
that's
trade. It's
that's why they took
all
it out
back
to school.
right. Exactly. Yeah, that was back in the 70s when they started taking home economics and all these different wood shop auto mechanics out the school
Yep.
building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were still progressing, and we wasn't allowed to get into the colleges back then. We wasn't
Right.
allowed to get the loans and stuff to start the businesses, so we had to
Right.
do it ourselves, and we were still
Right.
having success
Right.
without all of that. And they
Right.
had to figure out, oh, wait a minute. They still got these trades. They still plumbers and electricians. And no, we're gonna take that out. So they
Yeah.
took that out in the 90s because I remember when I was growing up, we still had it a little bit. And then
A
my
little
like
bit.
towards the end of my high school, that's when they started taking it out.
It was all the way gone by the time me and you was out of school, it was all the way
It was
gone.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I remember I had to take the baby home and everything.
I had home ec. I didn't have to take that baby home, but I
Yeah, I
had
had to
home
do
ec
all
though.
of that.
They showed me how to thread it. Like I can sew. A nigga can sew some shit. Like they taught us how to do stuff. So they took all that out the schools, bro, and we didn't make sure that we kept it going.
True. And that's why I say a lot of that was on us. You know what I'm saying? Because now that this generation that's here now, they were supposed to pick up from where we left off.
Right.
But we didn't get left nothing because they was the ones that went to jail in the 90s. That
Right. We
generation
didn't get left
that
nothing.
that was supposed to teach our generation and leave us something is the generation they started taking out the house. Our
Yeah.
fathers and our grandfathers, they started
Yep.
taking, you know what I'm saying? So it was a trickle down effect.
Yep.
Now that we have, they want to say, awakened, become woke, or whatever that shit is they want to say.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Now that we are here, I believe that that's that's how we start the change. We got to be the ones to start it because it's our generation that skipped it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to be the ones to restart it.
It's an uphill battle for us, but we the
It
ones
is.
that we the ones that understand what it's gonna take, and we got the minds to do it. So it got to be us. We can't leave it to the
Got to be
young.
us.
We can't. We
No,
can't.
they
We can't let
lost.
they
They
done.
lost.
This is what I'm saying about these 80s babies, the early 90s. Like we got to be the ones. Like we got caught up in a crazy situation. Like we got the old school and we ushered in the new school.
And we
So
ushered in
it's
the
up
new
to
school.
we the unks and the OGs now, and we got to do this shit right. Cause the ones before us, they fucked us over, bro.
Yeah.
They didn't handle business like for real for
They
real.
they they they
And this is strictly talking to the men. I ain't. This is
that's who I'm
strictly
talking
men.
about.
These niggas didn't do shit for the black community back in the '70s and
No,
back in the '80s.
no.
So
I,
yeah,
I say it's that 90s is where everything, because the 80s they was still, you know what I'm saying, kind of, it was still that aspect. It was the 90s when they introduced those private prisons. Everything changed because they changed the music. They took
yeah,
love out of it. They started taking, remember we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance every fucking morning. They
yeah,
took that out.
yeah.
But first they didn't take it out. They took out under God. And we didn't say
Right,
that no more. Then they just
right.
completely took it all the way out.
Yeah,
They took discipline out in the 90s. You couldn't remember the 800 number they gave us and had us thinking that we called this damn number and somebody gonna come rescue us. We get
boy,
our ass whooped anyway.
I knew better than that shit.
Shit, I never tried that number. Shit, no, I
Yeah,
knew. My granny always told me they ain't gonna make it here before I get done. So I
exactly,
ain't
exactly. By the time they get here, bro,
no
you
point in
ain't.
calling.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yep, yeah. But
got another segment.
all
I
right.
want
Let's
to
get to it.
introduce this one. This is a new one. It's called Pass the Aux. It's AUX.
And
It's
you X.
yeah, music. So this is where we gonna talk about, we gonna bring back love. We gonna bring that back into the music because that's what I grew up on. The Al Greens, the Marvin Cease, the you know what I'm saying, Jagged
Yeah,
Edge, Silk, Boys to
yeah.
Men.
Drew Hill, all them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
for us in this segment, I want to either highlight some or we're gonna do like a verses for us. Like today, this is what I got. So
Okay,
I got who had the better career. Who would you take between R. Kelly and Keith Sweat? So I'm gonna do song for song, and we're gonna say which song we'll take. I got them in order too,
okay, all right,
but I only got like 15, so I'm gonna see which one you would take. This is R. Kelly versus Keith Sweat.
all right.
So number one, I got Bump and Grind versus Twisted. Now you got to remember how they
Ooh,
go.
you came out guns
Came
blazing,
out with
dog.
it. Yeah, we're gonna start this all
Damn,
right. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
tough. Nah, I'm going twisted on that one though. I gotta go
Ooh,
twisted on that one, bro. I gotta go
Twisted
twisted.
over. My mind's telling me no. You gonna go over there?
Hey man,
What?
that's tough. That's tough. That's tough, and I fuck with R. Kelly, but man, that twisted,
Twisted
cause
over you.
Cut Close is my favorite girl group. Like,
Okay, so it's because they got cut closer now.
man, that motherfucking song go hard, dog. I love Bump and
Well,
Grind,
let's just
but
say Twisted. Ooh, so you got somebody that agree with you.
yeah, she
Twisted.
know what's happening. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Okay. We got the Ignition remix
Okay,
or Nobody.
nobody.
No. What? Now usually I don't do this.
No,
Go
I
ahead hit it
mean
with the remix.
that it was
Ooh, that
catchy,
motherfucker
but
jam.
it wasn't no keep sweat.
Man, say it Nobody over Ignition remix. Now I can see the original. I don't know about the original, but who did Nobody have on it? Who was that
It,
lady on there?
I don't. I think she was. Back then they didn't always
They
give a
didn't. Yeah, they
name.
just whoever they
Yeah,
knew they put
she
them
was.
on there.
Yeah, she was just a vocal talent. That so I don't know, but yeah, I got to go with nobody, man. That's a good
Okay,
classic, bro.
okay. You got Make It Last Forever. That's Keith Sweat.
Make it last forever. Hey, do you remember? You remember the Wood?
Yeah, the movie.
Forever. Yeah, yeah. Boy, that shit was funny as hell. Okay, go ahead. My bad, though.
And they agree with you on that one too. Nobody. Okay.
I'm trying to tell
Y'all
you.
ain't nobody gonna agree with me, huh? Okay, that's how y'all do. All right, chat. We got Make It Last Forever. Remember that one. Or Step in the Name of Love. That's that whole Chicago swag right there.
Yeah, Step in the Name of Love is a clap, man. I'm gonna go with that one. I gotta go
Step
with
in the
Step
Name of
in the
Love.
Name. Yeah, cause that whole dance that came with it too. That motherfucker was tough, man.
I don't. Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I think I might have to go with "Make It Last Forever" on that one. Make
Really?
it last forever, never.
I mean,
Don't let our love in. Oh,
yeah,
nigga, I don't know,
that's a
man.
classic, man. Look. Either way, I don't think it's really a wrong answer
A
between
lot of
Keith
these.
Sweat and R. Kelly, for real, for real.
Yeah,
Just,
it's just a down to
well,
your,
yeah, yeah,
preference.
yeah. I gotta go with that Step in the Name of Love, though, bro.
So we got, and I know a lot of people be like, oh, y'all still listen to R. Kelly. Yeah, I don't now. Robert is different. What Robert was doing,
Right, right,
I don't fuck with that. But R.
right.
Kelly, hey, that's the music.
The music of R. Kelly, we gotta separate. And who
The
is that?
man from the music.
We gotta separate these people from their music, bro. Like these people is not what they are in these songs. These songs is made up, bro. Like we gotta, as a black community, that's something else we gotta do. We gotta stop like deifying and putting these people on such a pedestal to where we think they somebody different from our cousin them from around the corner. Like
Yeah,
our Robert Kelly is no different from any other nigga in the hood.
yeah.
Plenty of niggas in the hood been fucking on these young girls. We all seen it back in
Man,
the day.
say when I was in high
My
school, chicks used to
yeah,
get picked up by older dudes all the time.
man, my little girlfriend left me for an older nigga. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna hold. We was like 14, 15. This nigga had to be 21, 22. I said, bitch ass nigga, what? Man. So
All right,
yeah, I always felt the way about old niggas, but fuck it.
all right. We got number 4. I believe I can fly, or I'll give all my love to you. Ooh,
I believe I can fly, bro. That itself has probably outsold Keith
Space
Sweat.
Jam.
Period.
That's Space Jam.
That
Anytime you
one,
think of Space
yeah.
Jam, that's the song you gonna think
We
of.
we sang that in my middle school.
Yeah,
So when we graduated 8th grade year, we sung that. We had to sing that. So yeah, I believe I can fly is is Michael Jackson level song, right? Like,
yeah.
nah.
That's there. I'm gonna have to go with I believe I can fly on that one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you remember I Wanna by Keith Sweat? I wanna.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we got
Yeah.
that one, or we got When a Woman's Fed Up.
Woo. When a woman's fed up, bro. That's a
Yeah,
classic.
yeah,
Every man in
yeah.
got to their 30s and felt that way. They done fucked up some shit they
You
had no business fucking up, dog. Yeah.
there is not a man on this earth that can listen to that song and say they can't relate.
Boy, what
You
I'm
can
talking
relate.
about.
You done fucked up before.
Boy, it's just it's a matter of how many times you can understand this song. Shit. I know it's at least two or three for me. Shit.
Right, right.
And piss them motherfuckers the fuck off. Shit.
Yeah, man. When I got to go with When a
But
Woman's
yeah,
Fed Up on that
yeah,
one.
when a woman's fed up, boy.
Okay, number 6. Your Body's Calling versus I Give All My Love to You. Two. I'll give all my love to you. That
Yeah.
I might have to go with O'Keefe on that one. Your body's calling though. Yeah. What the it's kind of hard to listen to that one for me because I get to thinking about
You think of you? That's the one.
he,
If it's
he,
one
he needs to
song,
throw that one away.
yeah, we just gonna go with Keith Sweat just by default because that song, that's a whole nother perspective nowadays, bro. That's a whole nother your body, yeah.
Oh shit.
Your mind should have won that one, fool.
Yeah, that one right there. Keith wins
Yeah,
by default. She
yeah,
say, "Yikes, Keith."
yeah. That what they say that didn't age well at all, fool. That didn't
Okay,
age well at all.
so we got Down Low, the one with Runner Isley.
Yeah, that's a
That's number
classic.
7. Or Something Just Ain't Right. Something just ain't right. Got to go Down Low on that one.
Yeah, got that's a
Yeah,
no brainer.
that one with even the remix.
which remix? That was a whole storyline
Yeah, it
with the
was.
that had like some chapters to it. Like that
Yeah,
was a whole long. Yeah, I remember that. That was like a whole series. R. Kelly, a genius for that.
they say
That's
down
different.
low.
Yeah, yeah.
Chat say down low.
Hmm.
We got number 8. Seems like you're ready. That might be another one
Like
that
you
lose by
read that?
default.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Get Up on It by Keith Sweat.
Get Up On is a damn good song though. I fuck with Get. I like that song.
Yeah.
Um, that is another one that R. Kelly should have. You telling on yourself, bro. You told on yourself. They
That
say
one
these rappers is
especially
bad.
because
They say
it's
these rappers is bad.
that one right there. I think that one more than Your Body's Calling is. You know what I'm saying? It's a little
Yeah,
more.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But I still have to go with that one over Get Up on It though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Me, like, okay, career wise, the better song is the R. Kelly. But personally, if I'm just flipping through, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna listen to that Keep Sweat a little more.
Yeah.
That particular one, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we got Honey Love.
Mm.
that's my.
Honey Love is my shit, bro.
There
What
you go telling me no again.
Honey Love? It's not even close, bro. It's
Ooh,
it's
I
not
don't know.
it's not much Keith Sweat can do with that one for me personally.
Honey Love. Let me remember that.
Give
Uh
me that honey
oh
love.
yeah, no,
Oh,
no,
what?
yeah,
You
no.
crazy,
That's
dog. You
that's
crazy.
no, that's hands
I
down.
I might have got conceived to that motherfucker, dog. Who knows?
Yeah,
Ain't
yeah,
no telling.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Honey Love on that one.
Yeah.
Honey Love off tops. Marissa said.
Marissa know what's up, man. Marissa know what's up.
So we got 12 play.
Mm, another banger.
On My Body. Now, technically, that's LSG, but Keith Sweat really made that song.
Yeah, yeah,
He,
yeah.
he, he made it what it was. So,
My God.
My Body or 12 play. I'm gonna go with My Body on that one. That
Damn, that's a hard one. Fuck,
ooh.
that's tough, bro. I wish I had a shot of liquor for that one, cause I just have to take a shot. That's tough,
Hey, when we
bro.
start getting our little private rooms and stuff like that,
We gonna have to, yeah,
we're gonna take some shots.
we gonna have to play a drinking game with some of this stuff, bro. That's
Yeah,
that's one that one.
that's what we'll do.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna have to go with body, bro. That Johnny Gill, Gerald Levert, man,
Man, My Body. Ooh.
man, look, come
That
on,
was
man.
you put that on back then. You might as well. And remember, we used to record on our voicemails, and we had a little phone with
Hey,
the radio in the
yeah,
background. I
them.
had
Hey,
My
they don't
Body
know
on my
about
shit.
that. They don't know about that. Having to keep the whole background quiet and slowly slide up to the speaker real quick.
What?
Man, look,
Those was the days.
trying to
So we
tell you, bro.
we got The World's Greatest by R. Kelly. Remember that one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then we got Don't Stop Your Love. Don't stop your love. I'm the
Mm.
world's greatest.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the R. Kelly. I'm gonna go with R. Kelly on
I'm
that
gonna
one.
have yeah.
That
I'm gonna
one.
say the world's greatest on that one.
Man, I can't.
Marissa agree too.
The kind of upbeat stuff from back then, I I don't really be rocking with it too much.
The
Like,
upbeat,
yeah, that kind of more upbeat tempos from back then.
you like the slow jams.
I like the super slow jams where the vocals is the most important, not that beat in the background. So
Okay then, since you like the slow jams, we got Slow Dance. Hey, Mr. DJ. I
that's
already
it.
know that.
I don't care what you talk about after that. I don't care what you talk about after that.
I already knew you was gonna say
Hey,
that.
I'll fuck around and go horse screaming that motherfucking song, dog. That's
And I
one of the
had
ones.
Come and Get With Me featuring Snoop. Yeah, but it's got to be that one. Yeah.
Well, it ain't even close, bro.
No, Slow Dance. Ooh, that when that comes on.
You can't make me stop
Hey,
listening.
Mr. DJ.
Man,
Oh,
Go to the next one before I get to cutting up on this motherfucking vibe, man.
Oh, we're gonna keep it going. We got Just a Touch from Keith Sweat or Feeling on Your Booty. A lot of these now, cause see, Keith Sweat didn't really have the bangers. So once you
yeah,
get past his top
mm,
12, it ain't
yeah.
gonna really be a matchup after that.
He gonna fall off, and Kale's got hits for days.
This dude,
So
R. Kelly is really to me the only person that could go hit for hit with Michael Jackson.
the only one.
He's
People
the
don't
only
want to
one.
give him that respect because of
He
his
wrote a lot of
situation.
Mike songs.
He wrote a lot of everybody's songs.
He did.
His catalog, his pen
He
is
did.
like if you really go through all the songs that he wrote
Oh, man.
and or produced,
Yeah.
man, he might put Michael Jackson to shame because Michael Jackson didn't write for other people. That's the only thing. He didn't. I don't think he
No.
wrote for other people.
I
So
don't
just
I ain't never seen nothing of him writing for other people.
that's what I'm saying. So R. Kelly himself, and then you add in all the other people he didn't wrote for and all the songs he didn't. Ron Isley, all them Isley Brothers songs,
Yeah.
man. He might can take Mike.
He's one, but see, they ain't gonna never give him that because of
No,
the
yeah,
situation.
he ain't gonna
But if
never see
you
that type
being
of.
real about it,
We know, we
yeah,
know, yeah, we know.
he can go toe to toe with Mike,
He can. He about the only one that can, but he
the
can.
only one.
Like not even Prince. I don't care what nobody
No,
say.
no, because see, when you listen, you have to like a certain style to listen to Prince because all his shit is not
Yeah,
R&B. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
A lot of
I
it
mean,
is,
well, Mike Jackson wasn't R&B. He was strictly pop. I don't think he had much R&B, honestly.
but Mike's was more. Prince had more heavy rock and roll to his, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah, he did. He did.
Because I got a playlist that I have Prince versus Michael Jackson, and when
Oh,
you get to some of Prince songs, once it start getting down, it's like
dang, I
lot,
like going out.
a lot of his songs, they wouldn't relate today.
Yeah,
You have to like Prince
right. Yeah, I
to
agree because
listen.
I don't really listen to Prince.
Yeah, a lot of his shit was different. Uh, we got So now I also like to do a segment to where we talk about movies, and
Okay,
it's called classic or just average.
okay.
So what I want to do is we'll talk about our old school movies, a lot of our old movies, and we'll see if she said y'all young. We'll see if it was made today, would it still be a classic or would it just be considered average?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's gonna.
Now
We might hurt some feelings on this one.
we're gonna start with Coming to. I did a video on this, Coming to America, with Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall. It had James Earl Jones. It was loaded. It
Yeah,
was loaded.
that'll
You,
still be a classic.
I would say so too.
Yeah.
Now, as far as a lot of the comedy that was in it, they would have to change that because today they can't say a lot of the shit they were saying
Right. Yeah, yeah.
back then.
Way different nowadays. So yeah, a lot of that would be different. But if you think
Classic.
about just some of the comedians nowadays who's in the game, like who would take their place? You know what I'm saying? Like, would it be like a DC Young Fly and these young type of comedians who do it that can still make it funny?
I don't because they tried that with some of the stuff with them. You know what I'm saying? And it don't hit the same because
Well,
these comedians today, it don't seem like they went through nothing.
right, right.
Like
Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems like a different type of comedy back then it was more raw and it was more relatable. Now a lot of these dudes talk about stuff that they ain't doing.
right, right. I mean, is that just how? I mean, that's just how it goes with cycles of music or comedy or whatever. Like they ushering in that new wave of comedy, and so for what we went through as a generation of people, they didn't go through none of that.
They didn't. Yeah.
They went through a different type of lifestyle growing up. So what's funny to them? won't necessarily be funny to us. But that don't mean if that movie were to come out now, those people couldn't make it funny. But it's just because we already have the original in our
Well,
head.
perfect example. They did a part two of Coming to America.
Yeah, but we already got the original one in our head, so it's gonna always taint it
That's
a
what I'm
little bit.
saying. Okay, Viva Zion had a perfect example. The Color Purple. The
Woo!
old one was a
Yeah,
classic. We know what that was.
yeah.
This remake today was man, I don't know
I
what the hell that was.
I didn't see the remake. I
Mm,
didn't see it.
mm-mm,
No, it
mm-mm,
ain't it.
mm-mm. No, yeah, I was looking for some I don't know. I just thought it was gonna be it seemed like more of a musical.
Oh. Well, again, going back to nowadays you can't really be as raw as you was back then. So when that original Color Purple came out, that shit was raw. That
Yeah, it
shit
was.
ruffled. That shit
But
ruffled the feathers.
they can still be raw with slavery movies. They still do that the same way as they did back then.
But it's a shift though. I mean, nowadays it's more of a woman thing, not a black thing. They don't give a fuck about you being offended if you black. It's a
No,
woman
no.
thing.
Yeah.
So, black women, because it's a woman thing and it was a lot of aggression towards women. That's what I mean. Like the Color Purple, even though it's black people, it was more so just aggression amongst that, that old school type of man and that old school type of woman. You know what I'm saying? That's what they wanted to portray.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I meant going back to what we're talking about with the relationship thing. Women say they want old school type of men, but they don't want them old school type of men because they not going for that silly shit.
Hmm.
So,
But
you
that's
know,
what they need.
that's what they need. That they don't want it. That's what they need. And because that's not what they getting, it sounds good to say it. But no,
Sound
that
good? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you remember the movie Jump in the Broom?
I don't. What is nah?
You never
What
seen
is
that?
uh-uh.
With the I can't think of who was in that. Okay, we'll skip that one.
What
Let's do. I can't remember who the star that was. I can't remember his name. I could just see the people in the movie. I know. I think Loretta Devine was in it.
okay,
Uh,
yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up now. I'm not 100% sure.
okay. What about The Best Man? Would that still be considered a classic or just average? That's a well, I don't know because they remade that new one, remember, and it took. I mean, it did just as good as the old one, so I believe
Yeah,
it would still be a classic.
I think it'll still be a classic. Yeah, I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that'll always be one of them ones.
Yeah. What about The Wood? You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, that for me personally, that's always gonna be my
That's
shit.
my movie there, man. The
That's
Wood.
my shit. Yeah, yeah. I used to watch that movie. I'm talking about at least once a week. I sit down and watch that damn movie.
Yeah.
But man, I think it'll still do good because it still speaks to a specific time point in life that maybe younger a lot of younger kids don't know nothing about. So it'll
Right.
be a lot of people, our age and maybe a generation older, taking their kids to see, what I'm saying, the wood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think yeah, that's
I
one
think
because of how they had it, with the high school prom and then they go growing up. I believe that can always be relatable
yeah,
to
that'll
any
always be
generation.
related. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boys in the Hood. We that's
I think that again. I think it speaks to such a specific time period and what was going on that it'll always be a stamp in our history, in our culture, and so it'll always be a classic. The Boys in the Hood, Minister Society, Friday, all them type of hood movies that, like I said, speak to a specific time period where shit was going on and how things were for that brief 10 to 15, 20-year period.
yeah.
Yeah, bro, it's always gonna be a classic.
Yeah. Yeah. All of those well, I don't know because it depends. A lot of the stuff that we like, this newer generation really don't fuck with like that.
Yeah, that's true. They different. They
They you know, the way they look is that they looking for more. We wanted more things that we could relate to as far as what we were going through back then. They don't want they want something that takes them out of that reality.
You right. You right about that. I didn't ever that never really hit me, but yeah, you right about that. Young people, they want something to aspire to, not necessarily want to feel what it is and being real. And like
Yeah.
young niggas don't give a fuck about being real. That's not a such thing as being.
No, no, they just want money. They don't care
That's
how they
it.
got to get it. See,
They don't
we
give a
had
damn.
that's the difference. There's no more integrity amongst the men because of social media and everybody want fame and everybody want their 15 minutes. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So that
yeah.
took a lot of that away. And once men figured out they didn't have to really work as hard, that changed it.
Changed the whole game, bro. Yeah, you right. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, bro, that's about all I got for tonight. This was a good one. We was on here too
Yeah, for
quite
sure.
a
For
while.
sure.
I
For sure.
appreciate everybody that tuned in. Tell them where to follow you at.
Yeah, man. Easy does it on Instagram. Y'all can follow me at Eric on Eric Ransberg on Facebook. I'll start, like I said, I need to start switching all that over to, this user handle, the Easy Does It user handle, whatever.
Yeah,
But man,
so they
just
can
hit me up on
find
Instagram more than anything, and TikTok. I got my thing going on TikTok finally. You know what I'm saying?
you.
So
I saw it.
I'm gonna be tapping in with the videos and stuff like that on TikTok also. So Easy does it on TikTok as well. You know what I'm saying? So come tap in with me, man. I appreciate y'all for coming out and talking to us.
And follow the Black Club on all platforms: Apple, Spotify. We are everywhere.
Even
Um,
Zion, we appreciate you for tapping in so much today.
yeah, you be consistent with it. I appreciate you being in the
Yeah,
chat like that.
for sure. We
that
appreciate
that
that.
that that engagement, we appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, go on and subscribe to the platform. Last I checked, we was at 17,281 subscribers. We're trying to get to 20,000 and get these 4,000 watch hours so we can get monetized, so we can really
Yeah,
start
come on,
giving
tap
y'all a
in.
good platform. Uh
Share, and subscribe, all that good shit.
yeah, so we can get in the algorithm and get to going. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. We will be back Wednesday and keep this consistency going.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Yes,
that's
sir.
it. I'll let you.